Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew Sailors, and I am a nearly graduated student at Brigham Young University, Idaho, majoring in marriage and family studies. I want to share with you about my internship experiences at the Children's Advocacy Center of the South Plains in Lubbock, Texas. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, jump right into it. I want to talk about how I found the Lubbock CAC, which I'll just call CAC, since that's kind of what everyone calls it around here. My responsibilities as an intern, how I added value to my experience here, and what I learned and gained from this experience. I want to draw a few connections to BYU-Idaho courses between the things I've learned in those courses and things I've experienced here. And I want to offer some final words on my recommendation for this internship and provide you contact if you're interested in it. So the way I found the Lubbock CAC was as an outgrowth of my work in a class at BYUI. I'm an online student, so I had the Family 430 course, which was family and community relations. And one of the assignments in that class was interviewing 501c3s. My wife and I were considering moving down to Lubbock, and so I was looking for 501c3s in this area, and I found one of them here as the CAC and got in contact with Mary Infante, who's the associate director. So I scheduled an interview on March 30th, and as we were talking about the work that the CAC does, it just felt like a great opportunity for me as an intern um, to come and serve here and to learn possibly some skills and knowledge that would help me in my studies as I'm going into a master's next year to become a licensed professional counselor. So my responsibilities were uh, as follows here in the center. First, to observe or shadow the staff and their work, to receive trainings from CAC governing bodies, staff and affiliated organizations. I'd have the opportunity to network and learn from the staff and partners. I can help in clerical work in the offices, and always I am to comply with HIPAA, privacy law, and other confidentiality policies as well. That means anonymizing my notes. No names, no personal identifying information. So as far as observing goes, the family advocates are the people who, kind of greet the clients as they're walking into the center, orient them, help them feel welcome, answer whatever questions they can, and just kind of make it a smooth, welcoming environment for them to go through the process. So I shadowed them, and that leads to the forensic interviews. So a forensic interview is a very structured interview that provides a client the opportunity to tell their story in their own words. If they've been abused or what kind of abuse it was, and just to go into the details of their experience. And that I had the chance to observe at least, I would say, 3 dozen. That's a kind of a guesstimate, but 3 dozen forensic interviews in my uh, in my time here in the fall semester. Another great opportunity were the multidisciplinary meetings. That's with CAC staff and partner organizations. We get together law enforcement, CPS, attorneys, and the staff here, and they discuss the cases that are happening and updating each other about what needs to be done to move those cases forward and who needs to do them. So it's a giant coordinating work and quite fascinating. The trainings I received ranged all over the place, but the ones that I consider highlights were learning about sexual abuse dynamics, recognizing and reporting abuse, abuse in homeschool settings, tech facilitated abuse, that's things like deep fakes or cyber stalking, right? And field interviews with law enforcement. So, you get out of your internship what you put in. And the way that I sought to add value to the CAC in my experience here is based in the teachings of Jesus. Um, I I believe, well, my mission president talked about being a second mile missionary. I've kind of adapted that. I consider it important to be a second mile intern, we might hear the phrase disciple leader. That's often used in BYUI. So Jesus taught, "Whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain." And I strove to go the second mile by striving to serve in small and great capacities, volunteering to do whatever I could here, making connections with marriage and family studies courses at BYUI. That's really important because this is not a super hands-on internship. It's more of an observational practice. And so it's very important for you to analyze and draw connections with what you've learned from previous courses. And I'll show that more in a little bit. Uh, Having the opportunity to converse with staff that I've networked with and ask them probing questions and taking detailed notes, those are all really important for me. Practicing advanced social skills was also an opportunity I had here as I networked. Super Communicators is a book by Charles Duhigg, and I kind of pulled from his discussion of interviews and um, learning how to draw out information from people, share yourself authentically with them while maintaining boundaries. There's a lot of that went on. And lastly, offering feedback. Had the opportunity to create a survey, shared it with my supervisor here, Mary Infante, and it enhanced my ability to think about how I would contribute to an organization like this. And it also provided a way for the organization to interview and collect data from previous interns and improve their own work as well. So what I gained from my experience here is too much to really list, but some of the bullet points that I included are just the value and role of the children's advocacy centers in society and in the lives of children and families. I had no idea what a CAC does before before I really got into it. I had a 101 level introduction from Mary in an interview, but you have to kind of see it to get a feel for what goes on here um, and see the impact that it has. That requires teamwork, and that's another thing I learned is the teamwork required to protect those who are really vulnerable in society, children and so forth. There's no single person who's going to be a superhero. It takes an entire village, as it were, to raise a child. I learned how to recognize and report various kinds of abuse, as I mentioned, how to fight tech-related abuse. I learned about the burdens and joys of social service providers, and that includes a content warning because if you choose an internship at a CAC, you're going to have to hear interviews. Um, you're going to have to bear with descriptions of violence and just unspeakable darkness, right? And that's part of it. That's what this is. So if if you're a little worried that you're not going to be able to handle that, and the images you're going to see, the language you're going to hear, right? Like you just need to be aware of that going in. But the joys include the healing paths of the abuse survivors and the rewarding aspect of seeing children get the protection they deserve, and families get hopefully in the best cases get set right, protected from the abuser and get the support that they need. I was able to interview licensed marriage and family therapists about their work and their experiences, and I learned about the kinds of social service careers that appeal to me more than others, which has affected what I'm choosing to do now. In addition to what I learned, I should talk about what I became. And I feel like I've become a more effective advocate for children and families with the knowledge that I've gained here. I feel like I'm a better informed guardian of my own children and family, knowing what to watch out for and red flags and boundaries to set. And I feel like I'm a better citizen and a better neighbor, being knowledgeable about what's happening in our society in terms of abuse and the dynamics there and how we can resist that, even just as citizens. There are connections, as I mentioned, that I made between my internship experience and the courses I've taken at BYUI. So for observing forensic interviews, that was an opportunity for me to tie into developmental psychology as I watched kids at various stages from 2 all the way up to 17. Family 400 talked about theories, family theories and dynamics. And so that was probably one of the biggest classes I drew from as I examined the situations of kids and families in the context of theories and using those to explain, at least to myself, or get an idea of why they were doing what they were doing, why they make the choices they do, um, why they're choosing to come forward at this time. family community relations. Of course, that's what kind of introduced me to um, children's advocacy centers and how I got here in the first place. Participating in trainings and seminars, it led me again back to theories. It led me into SW 463, that's child welfare, a very important class. Child and family advocacy, that's kind of a no-brainer. That's tied to Children's Advocacy Center. Um, and I got to hear some of the things that I learned previously in these trainings. Previously in my classes, I got to hear them over again in these trainings. As I shadowed family advocates and educators, that tied a lot with the helping relationship class, Family 420, which deals with working with people and just developing good relationships. Really great class. I highly recommend. And participating in multidisciplinary meetings relates both to community relations and bringing together partners from various agencies, as well as child welfare. So, for my conclusion, um, overall, it's been a great experience here at the Lubbock CAC. The people, the staff that are working here are salt of the earth people. They provide crucial services for vulnerable children. There's a lot to learn from everyone who works here. I would highly recommend you to take an internship at a CAC near you. Um, if you are interested in social services, whether that's CPS, whether you want to be a family therapist, a trauma-informed therapist, especially, or if you're even thinking about going into law enforcement. All of those tie in very much with everything that happens here. And even if you're not, know where your CAC is in your local community and know what they are providing because they are a really important resource for, again, the most vulnerable. And always remember that as in other endeavors, we reap what we sow. And so, that's scriptural. That's just the truth of human nature. As we put in effort to our internships, and we're not just going there for hours, but we're going there to learn something, you'll learn something. And I absolutely benefited from my internship in that way. So thank you for watching this presentation. If you have any questions about the Lubbock CAC specifically, you can access the contact information here for Mary Infante at the phone number and the email provided. There's also safeplaceforkids.org, which is the Lubbock CAC's official page. So thank you once again. Have a great rest of your education at BYU-Idaho. You're part of an amazing university. And if you use it to the fullest, then it will be an enormous transformational blessing in your life, as it has been in mine. Thank you so much.